Have you ever felt confused, frustrated, or even enraged by the behavior of others? Whether it's romantic pursuits, workplace dynamics, or just daily social interactions, the actions of people can bewilder and antagonize us to no end. Well, I'm here to share some uncomfortable truths that, once embraced, will revolutionize how you view and relate to others. Prepare to have your worldview shaken, because these insights are drawn from the ancient philosophy of Stoicism, a school of thought that preaches radical self-control and perseverance in the face of life's unpredictable difficulties. You see, while we can't control how others think, feel, or act, we can master how we respond to them. The Stoics show us that by adjusting our perceptions and expectations of people, we neutralize their ability to derail our peace of mind. Let's explore these 10 profound paradigm shifts. Truth 1. Most people are irrational and reactive. They live at the mercy of their unchecked emotions, ego, and circumstances beyond their control. This manifests in inconsistent behavior, flawed logic, and an inability to think long-term. You must accept that rationality is the exception, not the rule among the human species. Do not automatically assume good reasons behind others' choices or treat their shifting moods as something you can consistently predict and navigate. Having this sober expectation will soften the blows of their inevitable lapses in sound judgment. Truth 2. Most people are fundamentally focused on themselves and their own gratification, not on you. This is not meant as a slight, it is simply an observation of the human condition. We tend to wrongly assume that others are carefully considering how their words and deeds impact us. But the truth is, beyond a certain inner circle, we barely even register as a blip on their radar. Most people act solely in their own perceived interests with zero contemplation of you. Internalizing this will protect you from taking things too personally. Truth 3. Most people are heavily influenced by external forces outside of logic and rationality. Social pressures, biological impulses, volatile emotions, envy, greed, ego, all steer the human mind toward impulsive, self-serving behavior at the expense of virtue. Until you accept that reason, and sound principles are the underdog, not the norm, you will continue being baffled by the seemingly incomprehensible actions of others. Have self-compassion for the constant pull of appetite over sense that afflicts us all, and have empathy for others, helplessly riding those currents of impulse. Truth 4. Most people prioritize feeling over truth and validate information that pleases their existing beliefs. Ideological loyalty often ranks higher than objective scrutiny of facts. If the words or behavior of others offends your sensibilities, resist assuming there's malice behind it. More often than not, there's simply a profound inability or unwillingness to divorce feelings from facts. Expect that attachments to narratives and identities will frequently override receptiveness to evidence, no matter how well reasoned. Truth 5. Most people fear genuine introspection and despise being truly seen, embracing delusions that preserve their ego over brutal honesty. We're taught to embellish, maintain appearances, and deem unflinching self-study culturally unacceptable. Do not take someone's word at face value about their character, values, or principles. Most people engage in incessant identity styling designed to garner the approval and envy of others. Their words and self-portrayal are often complete fictions. Instead, study their actions over the long term to discern who they are. Truth 6. Most people lack the fortitude and discipline for anything truly remarkable or enduringly positive. Dedication, grit, and sacrifice for a higher purpose remain tragically foreign to the average human experience. When you see someone ostensibly committed to an ethos that inspires you, resist prematurely enshrining them as a paragon you feel compelled to please. More likely, their convictions are fragile, convenient things that will swiftly fall apart when true hardship or temptation arises. Maintain low expectations and cherish the few souls who continually defy the gravity of complacency. Truth 7. Most people chase ephemeral highs and immediately satisfiable pleasures over sustainable fulfillment. Uncontrolled urges and incessant craving plague the common person. Do not be shocked by the seeming madness of those who choose momentary delights, however destructive, over compounding joy derived through discipline and deferred gratification. When visceral impulses rule the day for someone, their choices will make little sense to you. Pity their sickness as you would someone physically ill, rather than judge their weakness as moral failure. Truth 8. Most people fail to grasp the fleeting nature of all achievements, success, and status in the grand scheme of the cosmos. Their standards are laughably nearsighted. When you watch someone become consumed and poisoned by greed, envy, pride, or the trappings of ego, recognize that they have fallen prey to some of humanity's most ancient philosophical miscalculations. Where you see impermanent idols being worshipped, they see all-consuming finish lines to finally achieve peace. Have empathy for their ignorance while pitying their perpetual dissatisfaction. Truth 9. Most people remain blind and desensitized to their hypocrisies, self-deceptions, and glaring contradictions between their professed ideals and lived behaviors. Self-awareness is regrettably lacking. When you find yourself consistently appalled by the gap between someone's espoused virtues and their actions belying those same virtues, understand this is merely the human default. Until undertaking the rare path of brutal introspection and self-rectification themselves, most people resign to self-serving rationalizations of their inconsistencies rather than anguish over them. Have forbearance for their moral short-sightedness. Truth 10. At our core, most people remain stubbornly unteachable, even when shown the evidence staring them in the face. We cling to false beliefs that preserve our identities and egos. Do not exhaust yourself trying to liberate others from their willful attachments to ignorance and delusion. The vast majority lacks the humility, objectivity, and teachability required to evolve beyond their childish mental prisons of ego, tribalism, and rationalization. Focus your efforts on the rare few who demonstrate a genuine hunger to transcend the human condition and accept most others are perfectly content in the snares of bias and self-serving mythologies. Having studied the 10 truths about human nature, you now grasp why Stoicism remains as counterintuitive as it is indispensable. To resist falling victim to rage, spite, disappointment, and incessant turmoil in our dealings with others, we must continually realign our expectations about the fragility of our species. The Stoics understood that only through embracing life's cosmic perspective could we become anti-fragile, achieving sustainable equanimity and fortitude amidst the chaos that so frequently arises from human folly. While the unwitting masses remain tormented by their unsquelched expectations of others, you can find emancipating solace in adjusting yours. Do not be consumed by people's inevitable failures to meet imagined standards of virtue or idealized rationality. Approach each person not as some projection of who you believe they should strive to be, but with the sober acknowledgement of who they inescapably are. Flawed, irrational beings reacting to stimuli in counterproductive, illogical ways beyond their conscious control. When their actions inevitably bewilder or disappoint you, resist taking it as a personal indictment of your worth. This is simply the cyclical human condition playing itself out. You would be equally guilty of arrogance to expect something else. By internalizing these truths, as unsavory as some may appear on the surface, you cultivate the precious ability to extend grace, forgiveness, and empathy to all people. This equips you to avoid incessantly lashing out, condemning or growing cynical over their apparent inadequacies. You free yourself from perpetual anguish while seeing others as they truly are, devoid of idealistic projection. Yes, the reality of the human condition remains profoundly imperfect, but suffering stems not from this abiding reality itself, but from our futile resistance to it. Accept it. Study it with the equanimity of a scientist, dispassionately observing natural phenomena. Channel compassion over contempt. Practice disidentifying from the fictions and facades we all construct to avoid reckoning with life's chilly indifference. For when you finally go eyes wide open into the desert of this merciless cosmos, only then can you experience true tranquility and wisdom. You engage fully with others as they are, neither diminishing your ambition for the human potential nor growing disillusioned by its present limitations. With the truths as your compass, You remain oriented toward cultivating virtue, resilience, and love within the circumscribed boundaries of what's possible. Yes, this path demands heroic fortitude and a stripping away of delusional fantasy. It asks you to stare unflinchingly into the abyss of existence while resisting temptations of escapism that beguile most. The way is arduous, but the rewards are incalculable. An unshakable centeredness, objectivity about the human condition, and the ability to alchemize endless sources of dissatisfaction into appreciation, benevolence, and inner peace. The choice is yours. Continue nurturing entrenched disappointments toward people's predictable shortcomings while feeling perpetually astonished by their inability to transcend human nature. Or, as Marcus Aurelius instructed, clear away the clouds that besiege your mind so you can see life as it really is, lived at the present moment. Taking the latter path ensures your tranquility. It is not a descent into callous cynicism or resignation, but an ascent into liberated perspective. From these heights of philosophical equilibrium, you remain buoyant yet grounded, continually delighted by each rare exception to the human rule, while serenely accepting its prevailing norms. Through confronting these 10 truths full-on, you cultivate true objectivity about people and prepare yourself for inevitable tests of character, composure, and ethical fortitude when dealing with them. While the untrained mind remains persistently engulfed in anger, bitterness, and disillusionment over human flaws, you stand resolute with the knowledge that this flawed state is our common existential inheritance. The choice to transcend it remains ours alone. Not everyone can successfully undertake that ascent, but those who do are greeted with panoramic vistas of life's grandeur and the oceanic freedom that comes from no longer fleeing reality's most uncompromising contours. Stoicism represents nothing less than a call to join the ranks of conscious beings waging an eternal resistance to the entropic forces that plague human hearts and minds, a sacred refusal to capitulate or rationalize mediocrity, an unwavering embrace of the rigorous path of virtue despite its difficulty. Through studying and integrating these truths about people, you equip yourself with the philosophical arsenal to perceive existence with piercing clarity while simultaneously softening its blows. You open the door to unruffled objectivity, unconditional compassion, and invincible perseverance amidst the churning tides of human imperfection and fragility. The untrained psyche remains hopelessly entangled in this chaos, perpetually drowning in attachments, judgments, and dashed expectations. But you, with Stoicism illuminating your way, you achieve buoyancy, suspended in transcendent equilibrium, while engaging life's turbulence with heroic aplomb. This path is open to all, but undertaken by precious few. Choose this day whom you shall become, the sage surrendered to human nature's unvarnished realities while courageously aspiring beyond them, or one forever stunted in adolescent idealism about what people should be, continually torturing yourself over the incessant falling short. One path leads to crystalline wisdom, the other to perennial despondence. If you have made it this far, comment down below with the word 100% to confirm that you have received the knowledge from this video. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.